Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Connor. It's done. It's finally over. The Euros. Completo. Finito. Done. We're back to Leeds United, baby. We're back to more suffering, more pain, more endurance. Oh, everybody. Oh, my God. What is it with being a Leeds fan and being an England fan? What did we do? Look, we love Leeds United. Of course we do. Look, we know we're massive fans of Leeds United, not as much of an England fan at all, really, club of all, country of all. However, what is it? Why do we have this pain? Why have I had to sit through Leeds at Wembley and my heart breaking again or in the final stages of Leeds United and then England? Oh, God. What I will say, everybody, is in an era of anti-football when people are, teams can be negative and horrible. I'm talking Wigan against Leeds United under Marcelo Bielsa, the 2-1 victory and win football matches. I am glad in a sense, and there's a little bit of me which thinks to myself, you know what, football won. Spain, 7 out of 7 wins, 18 out of 19 wins, a wonderful team to watch, attacking, free-flowing, superb team. And listen, everybody, there is a fair few similarities to Leeds United last season, isn't there? We're all looking at the pedigree that we had on the pitch. England, similarities. Could we have got better? The better, sort of performances and system to gain better performances last season? Yes. Could we have got even more out of certain individuals? Yes. Listen, were we a bit conservative at points? Leeds in England? Yes. So, listen, everybody, there is a lot of similarities, but it's not fair, obviously, to compare a 50-odd game season and Gareth Southgate ball, but God, they've got to move on. They've got to move on. I'm sick of it. Hey, listen, it'll be the same with Daniel Farke. If Farke's producing negative football and we're not getting results within the first 6 or 7 weeks, it's going to be sayonara, goodbye, 100%. But listen, let's not think that way. I'm in a bit of a negative headspace, as you can probably tell, because I'm just sick of losing finals. What have the gods done to us? Why? Oh, why? Anyway, let's have a look at what you guys are saying. Are we all good in terms of a mic? We're not. We're back on. We're back on. You'll be able to hear me a little bit better now. Shout out to Hayu, who's in. Hear you, I should say. Hello, welcome to. You can become a new member, everybody. Shout out to you guys who just said about the microphone. Spain players make me laugh. Overrated. Carl, listen, they won it. Darren's in the building. Morning, mate. Rolling Wolf. Morning, all. Morning, Con. I hope you're not too hungover, dude. Do you know what? Shout out to you, Football Guru, as well. And Danny, yeah, we're back on the microphone. Thank you for letting me know. Listen, it's back on Leeds United settings. We're back with, discussion, discourse, debate. Obviously, guys, we are going to be recording as well a Across the Pond Generation Leeds. It is well worth. It's £4 measly a month, which goes to helping the channel. We've got giveaways over there as well for a smaller pot of people. Patreon, link in the description below. Well worth it. We've got your merchandise as well going into the new season, all available, all ready for you to cop that merch. Right, let's get into what we want to speak about today. Amanda says, I'm Irish, happy you qualified. Be happy you qualified, let alone made the final. I know, but the expectation, Amanda, with English fans is that we're going to win everything. So there's a different expectation for Ireland, isn't there? So yeah, and you're good at what you're good at, the Irish. We're just not good at what we're supposed to be good at. All good enough anyway. Okay, so what do we want to talk about on today's news? Well, we want to speak about Mr. Brenden Aaronson, everybody. We're going to be speaking about other people as well who are going to be back at Ellen Road training today. But I wanted to start on Brenden Aaronson, a really interesting interview that Leeds Live have actually done with a representative at Union Berlin who was actually part of the developmental setup at Union Berlin, Tommy Wilson. And Tommy Wilson is, in fact, a Leeds United fan. So not only you, Gav, who is in charge of our merchandise, is a Leeds United fan out in Germany. We actually have Tommy Wilson, who's part of the setup at Union Berlin. Leeds fan, born and bred. And he made some interesting points this morning about Brenden Aaronson and something that we can all maybe get a little bit encouraged at as Leeds United fans. And are we going to be seeing a different Brenden Aaronson? What I will say, physically, I was always massively critical of Brenden Aaronson's stature, his falling on the floor, and just his physical components. I thought there's absolutely no way he's ready for any sort of English pyramid football. He'll get bounced off the pitch He's going down way too easily, consistently. And really, really interesting how Tom Wilson has said that, he never gave up at Union Berlin, never whined. And apparently Tommy, I don't know whether or not he's had conversations with Brenden whilst he was there or he's heard it through the staff, that him and his family absolutely loved Leeds, but it just didn't work out. And listen, we know Leeds fans are going to love that. A little bit of sentiment with some fans, but it is nice to hear, even when I've got that sentimentality part of my being as well. But apparently, with Brenden, he learned from each experience. And when he got bombed out of the team, he was working 5 times as hard as anybody else. And listen, he was also saying, and he didn't reference certain players, but he said he was working 5 times harder than every single player. And some players weren't working hard at all when they were bombed out the team. And Tommy Wilson didn't go on to it. He didn't elaborate. You can find this article as well, everybody, on Leeds Live, but he didn't elaborate on who those players particularly were, but it's interesting. And the key thing that I wanted to take away from this when it comes to Brenden Aaronson is something that we all have to keep in our mindset is he left as a better player. He left as a better player, which for me is a good sign. At 23 years of age, coming down to a lesser division, Brenden Aaronson leaving as a better player, that gets me going. That's what you want to hear. I've mentioned this several times before. There was talk of him having loads of offers from the German Bundesliga. I think that's absolute rubbish. I think that's almost a little bit of PR to, sort of sell it to the fans that, look, he is still good enough. He definitely is still good enough. How I think it's panned out is Brenden Aaronson's come back to Leeds. They've not had any worthwhile offers. And at some point, they've got to figure out what they're going to do with Brenden. They've got to figure out what they're going to do with him. And we've seen the profile of Firpo and Dan James. We're not going to focus on Somerville, on others like that, because they've always had a really high ceiling, in my opinion. But Dan James and Firpo were the obvious ones who you're thinking, nah, they're just not good enough. They're not good enough. They've come down a level, and suddenly Dan James and Firpo look miles better, okay? So that's the bracket that you need to be putting Brenden Aaronson in. So I think Leeds have just turned around and gone, look, it's going to be better for you in terms of valuation and maybe moving forward at Leeds or not at Leeds. And obviously it's going to be, let's be brutally honest, you've not got many great offers. There was loads of dialect that apparently he's got X amount of offers in Germany. Well, if you had X amount of offers in Germany in the Bundesliga, I'm sorry, he'd be going there. He'd be going there 100%, unless his mindset is not very confident. We know he's a confidence player and he wants to come to Leeds, play in a lower division, and look better. I think Brenden has got to be very, very ready for what the Championship has to offer, though, because it is very, very different, as we all know, to what the Premier League offers. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, guys, the counterpoint is on after this. I was an absolute donut, and I thought it was actually on my channel this week. It's actually on Joe's. Steve says, Connor, send me a merch link. I bought some merch last season, but want to look at your new stuff. Bad with tech, so please send me a link. Okay, Gav, if you're in the comments, mate, just get the link up, mate, and we'll get it on there. But it should be in the description, Steve, of the video, mate. Just in the link in the section below, mate. Let's keep getting into your comments as well. Rooting for Aaronson says, hear you, fresh start, all hands on deck for promotion. Hi from Ireland. How you, Dave? Hope you're good, mate. Fred, I trust the 49ers. They trust Farker, benefit of the doubt given for now. You guys conversing in the comment section. Please leave a like on the video as well. Everybody just shows up on the algorithm a little bit better, and it's free for you guys to do so as well. So today, Leeds players are returning back to training. It's either today or tomorrow, I believe, actually. Aaronson, Christensen and Wöber. Now, how interesting is this? Obviously, Wöber and Christensen, 3 years left on their deal. Not heard anything as of yet. Apparently, Borussia Mönchengladbach are not going to be meeting the terms and conditions of Max Wöber, one of their top 2 players last season. Wöber, when you're looking at who scored ratings and other ratings as well, when it comes to his performance levels, you see on social media, I did a little bit of a search on Max Wöber before this stream, and you type in his name on Twitter, for instance, glowing references. Part of a Ralf Rangnick Austria side who were one of the breakout sides in this competition. They were absolutely fantastic. Wöber, part of a back 2, obviously scored the own goal, didn't he? Which is unfortunate, but his performances, I watched every single Austria game. He looked very, very comfortable playing out from the back. Looked very, very comfortable in terms of the physical battles. He played up against some really good teams. Austria qualified as well. You have got to tip your hat to Wöber there. So I think he is the 100% most positive thing to come out of this competition for Leeds United. If they're able to keep hold of him, that is, I keep saying this, but it's a massive step up. I know we'll get in the conversation below. We don't want any of them back. We don't want any of them back. And listen, it's horses for different horses for courses and all that sort of stuff. And I understand some Leeds fans don't like certain players. And they do like certain players. You know, I feel like if Jack Harrison was to come back, he wouldn't get any of the backlash that Wöber would get. But obviously, Harrison's got more credit in the bank, etc., etc. But Jack did want to leave. You know, we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes here, you know, when you're looking at these comparisons. But Max Wöber, I think that'd be an excellent addition. If we're able to have a back three component of Wöber, Rodon, and Strauch. Listen, the manager, let's not put Farker in Gareth Southgate settings, but it would be great if he was a little bit more pragmatic. Could we go to a back three and put those in a back three and actually utilize wing backs, of which Sam Byram would be much more adept to working in a back three with being a wing back. Firpo would look miles better as a wing back as well. Real Betis settings, if he was to stick around, we know he played on the left side almost as a winger for Real Betis. It'd aid a lot of our players. It really would, and especially if we were to bring Jayden Bogle in, right wing back. A back three aids so much, makes you more defensively solid, and probably helps Joe Peru going forward as well if you're working in a front two with him and maybe Matteo Joseph. I said Matteo Joseph. I'm not saying anybody else up in that front two, everybody. But yeah, so Wöber, really happy with if we can keep hold of him. I expect this one to rumble on till the end of the summer. We'll be coming onto the room mill, speaking about it. But I still think he'll leave. Which will leave Leeds United with a fair bit to do in this window. Wöber awful in first game and dropped in the second game. Yeah, I think. But did you watch him in his last game, mate? And now I've got to think to myself who that. In fact, we'll have a quick look now. Who Austria were against in the last game? He was actually very decent in that game in particular. Austria group stage fixtures. Let's have a quick look. It might have been Netherlands. Was it Netherlands in the 3-2? I'm sure he played in that game. Either that or there was another left-footed 6-foot centre back. Let's have a quick look. Wöber. I'm having a look now. I want to see where he's played. You guys might be able to tell me in the comment section below. I'm sure he was in that match. Could be wrong, but I'm sure he played against the Netherlands. Danso, Lineheart. Yeah, he didn't play in the Turkey game, but I'm sure he played in the Netherlands game. Sure he did. Austria, by the way, 21 shots. What's going on there? But shout out to you, mate. You could be correct in that regard, but I was sure he played against the Netherlands. But maybe in the last game he was dropped, yeah. But anyway, regardless, listen, Wöber's starting for Austria in a Ralf Rangnick side. We've got to look at that as a big positive, especially when you're looking at a championship club. He came on as a sub. He came on against Netherlands. Okay, fair enough. Contorino sold their star centre back for big money, 30 million quid. Expect links to Strauch and Melier. Yeah, 100%. And as we know, Aaronson's going to be returning with those three as well. So yeah, big news there. Glenn Kamara is the one that I wanted to speak on. He is the one that I wanted to speak on big time. How are we all feeling about Glenn? 28 years of age. Rothwell's been brought in. I like the Rothwell signing. I like it. 29 years of age, bit of experience there. Got more goals than our entire midfield in 16 games last season. I like Rothwell. I like that as a signing. If Glenn Kamara goes, what do we know? There's an upside in a sense. He's 28 years of age, even though I'm really confused about this because the manager's constantly asking for experience. I'm not here to slag him off or anything like that, everybody. But when you're pining for experience, then you're selling experience. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So Rothwell is 29 years of age. We've got him in. Glenn Kamara, 28 years of age. Now, you've got to look at the fee, I guess. Now, you brought Glenn Kamara in for 5 million quid, right? Do you bring Glenn Kamara in for 5 million quid with an idea that he's going to go up in value? I don't think you do. I think you bring Glenn Kamara in for the near future and for quality at this level. And it's almost 5 million quid. It's 5 million quid, whatever. That's how I feel. I don't feel you're looking to make money back on Glenn Kamara. So in that respect, I'd be looking at it and thinking, okay, I don't really know why they're doing that. Glenn Kamara also it goes against the books really, really well. We're selling him for 10 million euros, just below, which is 8.6 million quid in a sort of exchange rate. Good return, I guess. You made 3.6 million quid on him. Goes against PSR. We're all accountants nowadays. Good stuff. The problem is you're leaving yourself a lot to do. You've got an experienced midfielder there again. You know, we look at Gruev in there. Gruev is what, 23 years of age. Kamara's 28. Rothwell's 29. Archie's gone now. Kamara's gone now. So it's almost like, you know, with Glenn, do you need to sell him? Okay, it looks good. It looks good on the PSR books. I get it. But is it not worth keeping him around? And I have to say, I did stick this out on socials, and you got to get a bit of backlash for it, of course, because it's opinions. But all Kamara's judged on is goals and assists. It's not his game. It's never been his game. Never been his game. So what did he score? 5 goals in about 5 years in Scotland in the SPL. So it's never really been his game. So people are judging him on goals and assists. It's judging Christchurch Somerville on how many headers he wins. It's just not realistic. So for me, you know, how good he is in possession, the trio of passing he crucially found throughout the season between him, Firpo, and Somerville, the relationship that he had between Somerville and Rutter in terms of getting Leeds up the pitch. I never really saw Kamara as the man who was going to get goals and assists. It frustrated me. Of course, I'd have loved him to add that to his game, but he was never going to add that to his game. So the whole point is here, everyone, we don't want to waffle too much, but Kamara going for me is a bit of an issue. I like Kamara. He's got a year of championship experience now. He's played in Europe. He's an experienced player, which is what Farke wants, and we're letting him go. So what you can't do now is, listen, Archie was a midfielder. He played right back last season, but he is a midfielder. You can't let Archie go and Kamara go. 2 players who you would say are attacking footballers in that central space, and say that we're only replacing them with an on-loan Joe Rothwell. Now, I know a lot of you guys will say, Connie, you never criticise the 49ers, yada, yada, yada. I'll criticise the 49ers 100%. I'm giving them a long leash here because I think they've been good so far, but I'm giving them a long leash. But if they don't bring in another midfielder and you let Kamara go for 8.6 million quid, and obviously that goes against PSR, all well and good, but you need a body in there. What's on the pitch gets you promoted. What's off the pitch is to do with, you know, accountants, and it's to do with financial dudes, of which we are not privy to, of which we shouldn't now be thinking to ourselves, oh, we're money experts, blah, 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 PSR, whatever. Just get another body in, okay? That has to happen. Has to happen. If Leeds go into this season, and I'm not going to judge the 49ers now because that would be contradictory, it'd be hypocritical, because I've said to everybody, I've said to you, judge them at the end of the window. End of the window, you judge them, okay? Last window, I thought they did a really good job in summer. I thought they did a really, really good job. January, kept the hand close, but Connor Roberts was not a bad acquisition at all in replace of Jed Spence. You cannot let Glenn Kamara go and not replace him, because whatever anybody says, Glenn Kamara was one of the biggest features in that squad last season. One of the biggest features that got us to 3rd in the division. We should have gone up, 90-point trophy, blah, blah, blah. But I really, really hope that the 49ers haven't just thought to themselves, right, we've got Gruev now, we've got Ampadu, and we've got Rothwell, and that'll sustain us. And on loan, Rothwell as well, I have to say. That cannot sustain Leeds United for the season. Listen, and it is interesting, actually, because it's very much dependent as well on Wöber. If Wöber sticks around, then you're not going to really have to utilise Ampadu in as a centre-back. You know, you've got Wöber there to do that. Also feel Crew is going to be an adequate replacement. Luke, definitely one more experienced mid to come in. Graham Smith posted yesterday that Rothwell isn't only the midfielder after. Luke, I saw that Graham said that he wasn't the only one that they were after at the time. So what he means by that is it wasn't just Rothwell. So they were looking at Rothwell at the time as that one replacement. That's not to say they're thinking Rothwell another and another, or Rothwell and another. That's that what Graham was saying essentially was that we were after a host of midfielders. By the way, which is it's something any journalist can say. You're obviously not just going to be after Rothwell. You know, there's going to be other targets. So I think what he was saying there is there was a few targets and they went for Rothwell. You know. So moving Ampadu back into midfield will be a big help. Ampadu, Gruev, Rothwell, and potentially Crew are good options. Maybe another experienced one. The thing is, what I will say is, look, I know there's a lot of you guys who are talking about Charlie Crew, this, that, and the other. Listen, Charlie Crew has got a massive reputation. But I think a lot of what you are doing as well by talking about Charlie Crew is you're suggesting that he's going to be part of the first team setup next season and playing minutes. I think what you're also suggesting immediately is that he's going to transition to championship football like Archie graded. There is no certainty there whatsoever. No certainty. And 3, is it good enough to get promoted? Or are we leaving ourselves short again? And this is the problem, isn't it? Because every single season, in my opinion, Leeds go into whether or not it was Bielsa, whether or not it was Marsh, whether or not it was, Daniel Farker. There's always a position or two of which you go as a Leeds fan and you go, yeah, we should have done one more there. Whether or not it was left back last season, centre midfielder the season before, striker for the last 3 years. We always leave ourselves a little bit vulnerable. And I think we did see that last season when it came to central midfield, of which we were all calling for it. We 100% saw it last season when it came to striker, which we were all calling for in the January transfer window. So it'd be great if Leeds are to get promoted this season, everybody, which the pressure is massive because we cannot be going into a third year in the championship with the lack of parachute payments, with the amount of asset stripping that will happen in the third year in comparison to the second. We have to be going into the season with a strong squad. I understand it's going to be weaker than last season, but how much weaker? How much weaker? Because you are still getting teams coming down from the Premier League. You are still getting Sheffield United close to Callum O'Hare. You're still getting Sheffield United bringing in Kiefer Moore. This is a Sheffield United who we're all talking about who are going to be struggling this season. Still Kiefer Moore, still Callum O'Hare. 2 proven championship all-stars, really, when it comes to it. Not saying they'd adapt to the Premier League, although I think Callum O'Hare would. But if Sheffield United had to wrap those 2 signings up, quality additions at this level. Luton coming down with a championship-ready squad. Continuity with Rob Edwards as well. Okay? Burnley. Look, Scott Parker, we know it's Scott Parker, isn't it? Still 2 successive promotions at this level. Still going to be a good side, isn't it? Okay. So I'm not going to say they're world beaters, but do I expect all of those 3 teams to be in and around the top 6, top 8? 100%. And I think you're kidding yourself if you don't think that. So Leeds are still going to have to go into this season strong. Coventry will be strong. We always know they're there and thereabouts. Will Sunderland come again? Middlesbrough are always in the conversation. The league, I think, is a little bit harder than maybe some people are conveying. So Leeds have to go into it with a strong squad. We have to go into it ready. We've learned from one season. We don't want that to repeat again. No more papering over the cracks. No more papering over the cracks. Bang on. And Adam, listen. I'm not saying that's going to happen in terms of Gabby Sarah. Of course I'm not, but I've just seen what Andrew said. If Kamara goes, you go and get Lewis O'Brien. Sounds easy. I'm saying it. But once again, I'm a fan. I'm not a pundit. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a financial advisor. But the attributes Glenn Kamara has is literally is Lewis O'Brien 2.0. But Lewis O'Brien can actually get you goals and assists in offensive positions. He's still young enough. He's available. He's probably unhappy where he is right now. He's been loaned. Needs a club. There you go. That is the obvious one for me. Played in the Yorkshire area before. There you go. Okay, so Jayden Bogle, everybody. What's going on with him? 7 million quid, according to Alan Nixon, is the price. That is the price that Leeds United are going to have to pay. Apparently, there's not enough wiggle room. Leeds are saying 3 to 4 million quid. We don't know if this is right. They're not willing to go to 6-7 million quid. I think in this division, if you're to get a quality right back who's not coming through the ranks like we had with Archie Gray, Hume, Van Ewick, Jayden Bogle, they're going to cost you 7 million quid. Good ages, all below 25 years of age, all bags full of potential, all have proven it in the championship. Jayden Bogle, I cannot believe the criticism that we've seen. We see it with, honestly, I think some of you guys call me negative. Anytime I put anything out about Rothwell, not good enough, crap, bad addition. Jayden Bogle, Watched him once, shite. Watched him, my Sheffield United mate doesn't like him, garbage. I don't know what's going on this year. I don't know what's going. Maybe it's just certain fans are ready to stick the knife in with the 49ers because of the Red Bull thing, but primarily the Archie thing. I think it's on a bit of a teetering balance right now. Fans are just like, a lot of fans are just like, do you know what? Nah, F this. You sold Archie. I'm gunning for you now. That's how I genuinely feel. There's a lot of Leeds fans thinking now. Jayden Bogle, this level is a very good addition. And especially if you just strip an asset of an opposing side, not only in the region who are a rival per se, but are also a divisional rival who do not want to lose him. Any Sheffield United forum, which I've looked at, the Sheffield United Way, which is a fantastic YouTube channel, Hal from there put out, how much would you like to lose Jayden Bogle for? You had about 100 responses saying, don't let him go, don't let him go, don't let him go, don't let him go. But because Dave from down the road has watched him twice last season and thinks he's crap, he's not going to accept him as a replacement for a right wing back or a right back for Leeds. Jayden Bogle's a good addition at this level, a very decent addition at this level, and you're weakening another side, and he's easily in Sheffield's top 3 players. Easily. So my point with all of this is you're going to have to pay 7 to 8 million quid if you want a top right back. Why is a top right back good now below 25? They probably can adapt to the Premier League. If you're looking at those 3 that I've just mentioned, 100%. I think we've already seen it with Bogle. Hume's a quality player. The Sunderland Echo have reported that he's available for 8 million quid this year. Van Ewyck, we know Coventry are always willing to sell some of their assets. They do get good dollar for them, but surely it'd be worth sort of 8 to 10 million according to Transfermarkt. Look, it looks like a lot of the best fullbacks who are now classified as wingers as well, with the overlaps, the underlaps, it's not just been able to defend, it's been able to attack as well. We saw that with Luke Ayland and Marcelo Bielsa. It wasn't just a defender, it was a bloody winger who'd get assists and goals. Yeah? You have to invest in that position. You have to do. So Hume, Van Ewyck at Coventry, and Jayden Bogle. If that's the asking price, I don't think you can be looking at, unless you go to the division below and pick out the best right wing backs and left wing backs from that level and just say, look, they're going to adapt to the Championship, which is a good tactic. Peterborough's always a good breeding ground for that. Ronnie Edwards, etc. You go do that. But for me, you have to pay that money. And it's a statement signing. If you're not going to do an attacker, okay, if you're going to not replace Kamara, which I'm not saying that they won't do, by the way, but if they're not going to replace Kamara, if you're not going to do a goalkeeper, which I don't think they will, invest a little bit in the fullbacks because it's so crucial. The best players in this division are still wingers. The best division in the, players in the division above are wingers. So being able to defend is massive, but being able to attack is huge as well. So, yeah. Shanna says the criticism of Bogle is the same criticism we hear about Firpo. Great player offensively, but defensively will be exposed. I guess Shanna's. I mean, look, I'm not saying he's a world beater, Bogle, but he's a really good addition for this level. And I mentioned earlier on, he's an Ampadu-esque signing, in my opinion. And it's really easy for fans now to look at Ampadu and go, well, that was always a good signing. But do you remember last season when we signed him and there's still fans going, 3 relegations, 3 relegations, 3 relegations. What a crap signing. Why is he's not good enough? Why is he never made it at Chelsea? It was all the same rhetoric. Bogle's proven it. Championship level, he's proven it at Premier League level to an extent, Yeah, defend. But what are we judging him on as well? Are we judging him on defensively in the Premier League? Because, yeah, as you said, Shanners, there's many players who can't do it in the Premier League when it comes to defensively. We've mentioned that the wingers are the best wingers in the world in the Premier League. We've got to really measure expectations here. Where are we at? What are our targets? You can't just turn around all the time with every single player that we get in his eyes. Crap. Hume, he's untested. He's only played 1 season at Sunderland. 8 million quid, too much money. Van Ewyck, yeah, but is it, how much better is he than Archie? He's probably not. These are all things that I'm seeing still in my comment section of the videos, and which is fine. But we've got to, where are we at? Are we just the best club in the world that we have to attract? We've got to be relative here to where we are and our standing. These are good players at this level, and you've got to think, could they adapt to the Premier League in a better system? We all talk about moving parts. I mean, Sheffield United with Jayden Bogle have had so much moving parts, so much, rough seas there. A little bit of continuity with a good manager, someone who replicates sort of what Farke had with Aaronson at Norwich. Bogle's a better signing than Aaronson. Much better. Miles better signing than Aaronson. So if we were to go for that, I'd be very, very happy with that. Where's Adventures B says, Connor, why have you softened on Perot? Most season, you know, the clear deficiency with him. He has to go, and we need a proper under 10. Where's Adventures? I've not softened on him, mate. I think it was for me, Perot was the wrong signing. I mentioned, and he got injured after this, but my number one pick at the beginning of the season when we were going for strikers was Ross Stewart. Obviously, he then got injured, but you can see why I went for Ross Stewart. You know, very, very different to Joel Peru. Peru at the time, I said, one of the videos at the beginning, it's a good signing. I like it, but at the same time, I'm a bit confused where he fits. Where he fits. You know, you've got to play what Russell Martin played, hence why Southampton were after him, but you've got to play what Russell Martin played with him at Swansea in, you know, a two in behind a striker when it was him, Patterson, just behind Obafemi, or a front three. And where he's like a deep line striker like Kane. But we all know the deficiencies, you know. He needs runners, as Kane does with England. You know, it's very, very, very similar. He's not an out-and-out number. I haven't suffered on him, mate. I'd be starting the season with Joseph. 100%. Joseph starts. Perot is 2. Bamford is 3. You know, that's 100% how I'd be starting the season. I'm not here to just stick Bamford in there. I'm not here to stick Perot in there. I'm not. You know, you play your way back into it for me, but you start the season with Joseph. Joseph, once again, seeing him on the training videos, he looks about 3 times bigger than when he first started a couple of seasons ago at York in a preseason friendly. Looks so much more physically developed. Looks sharp in the training videos. Looked sharp last season, for goodness sake. Go with it. See how he starts the season. That's how I'd be starting with, mate. Hi, Gail. Yeah. Cockney White says, but bet you Farke will start with Bamford. The thing is, mate, we've got what we've got to be realistic with Daniel Farke as well is he's under pressure. He's under pressure this year. If we start the first, which are tough games, I'm not saying this will happen. We could fly, but this is why we've got to be prepared squad-wise and everything. We've got to be prepared. Portsmouth, Hull, West Brom, etc. is a minging start. We did something with Nancy, and she reckons it's the 6th most difficult start in the Championship out of 24 teams in the first month to 6 weeks. It's a really tough start. Got to hit the ground running. You've got to hit the ground running. You know, you can't be coming out of 4 or 5 games with 6 to 9 points. You can't. You've got to really hit the ground running if you're wanting to win the league or come in the top 2. We've seen that before. Standard's not going to be the same, but look, I still think there's going to be a team that goes. I still think there is. It's not going to be 3, 4 teams within it. Of course, it's not, but there is going to be a team, I think, this year. I do genuinely believe that. And you know, when you look at historically in the Championship, there always kind of is one team. There's just not normally 4. But yeah. So we've got to be prepared. And he has to get his team selections right. Listen, if he's starting Bamford, hypothetically, Bamford's not getting a goal and it costs him his job, that's on him at the end of the day. I'm not saying that's how it'll start, but listen, we've got to be squad ready and we've got to be ready, you know, mentally for a really tough season ahead. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Shout out to all of you who've been in the building. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. We're going to be doing podcasts on the Patreon, of course. Make sure you check that out if you want some bonus bits on. We're going to be speaking on the season ahead, season predictions. Brownie is back on the channel tomorrow at midday. We're going to be going through a few bits. We're going to be getting Nancy back on as well this week at some point. But as I say, guys, head on over to the Patreon. Bit of bonus content. I know a lot of you have been asking about merchandise. In the description, just in the description below the video, you can select where it says back 4, right? Back 4. Hit that, and you've got loads of One Leeds back 4 collaborating merch. We've got winter bits, we've got autumn bits, summer bits, whatever you need. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.